Viewers, welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on Access Network. It's always a pleasure to be here in your company every Tuesday night between the hours of 8 and 9, where we bring you something relevant in the sporting discipline. Tonight we're going to be talking football, and we're going to be talking to a couple people from the Crown Trace Football Club in Enterprise. Now, ever so often you hear so many negative things from the community of Enterprise. Only recently, as a couple of months ago, you've been hearing about the gang violence. Everything that is bad that comes out of Crown Trace and Enterprise, you hear about it. But the things that are positive, you hardly hear people talk about it. And today, we're going to talk to these people because there is something good happening in Crown Trace. It has been happening for a while. Some of us are aware of it, and some of us don't. But tonight we're going to let you know of the good thing that is happening in the community of Enterprise, Crown Trace to be exact. I have on tonight's program, we have Nicholas Griffith. He is the president of the Crown Trace Football Club. Nicholas, it's a pleasure. Welcome to AX.
It's nice being here.
We have Nigel Richardson, the vice president of the same organization. And they will be here tonight to discuss and to tell us, some good things that is happening with this organization. Quickly, let's dive into it because I know that there is so much that we need to talk about and we have limited time. Nicholas, tell me about Crown Trace and this football organization. The inception, the purpose and the reason behind it. I know you was the main person that started it, so let's hear your story.
Right. Well, as you know, Crown Trace Enterprise is described as a hotspot, a crime hotspot. It's a community that's there are a lot of social issues which has been affecting the community. Probably about in 2006, I moved around within the community and I saw youths going astray. And being a member of that community and having excelled academically, I thought that I should do something for the community. And what I did at that point in time was just enter a simple competition, which was the Republic Cup, not knowing exactly where it would have gone, And well, they did well in 2006, and that would have just been for the July-August holidays. And 2007, we did the same. And as the crowd started to grow, I said something bigger and better should be done. And rather not just for the U16 age group, we should do it for a wider age category. And in 2008, officially, I formed the Crown Trace Football Club. We had just two age groups, U15s and U17s, and the only competition that we knew about was Republic Cup. So we started to train basically on a Saturday morning, and we entered just this one competition for a period of time. And what the kids within the community liked the most was football, so I stuck with football, right? At that point in time, it was just a one-man show trying to help the youths within the community, because what had been affecting the community was things like gambling, juvenile delinquency, drugs, and all these different things. And I just wanted to do something to help the youths within the community, right? And over time, the club grew, right, within the age categories from rather than under 15, U17s to U10s, U12s. And we started to get knowledge of more competitions, and we started to enter a lot of competitions. At the beginning, we never really won much competition because we were inexperienced. The players were inexperienced. They were still in the learning phase. But they never gave up. They actually liked the fact that they had something positive to do. And I myself actually like the fact that they were getting involved in positive activities. We had a lot of challenges where we were described as thieves. Anywhere we go, they say, look, the group of thieves coming. And that bothered me a lot. It bothered the kids a lot because no one would like to be described as thieves, you know, but I still kept on with them because I know something greater must have come out of it. I also had challenges with the names where a lot of persons within the community told me to change the name from Krong Trace because of the stigma that was attached. But I had the conviction that kings and queens were Krongs, and I insisted I'm not going to change the name. Something good would come out of this community, and I insisted that I would keep the name Krong Trace. And today I can say that definitely the name has some good things attached to it. I held my ground, and today we are actually a force to be reckoned with. We are recognized as one of the top teams within our zone. We have held the U15 and U17 zonal Krong for the Youth League for 5 years. You know, we have won the Republic Cup zonally for a couple, probably about 2 or 3 years within the under 15 U17 category. And now we have started to enter some bigger competition, which we'll talk about later on, international competitions.
Well, let me touch a bit with Nigel. Nigel, how did you get involved, and how long have you been with the group?
Well, I got involved when my son, after he wrote SCA, he had passed for Shawanas North. And I don't know if Nicholas mentioned to you, but he's also the coach of Shawanas North football.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so.
And you are a member of the community of enterprise?
Yes.
Okay.
Over 20 years.
Okay.
I've lived in enterprise. So when my son, he passed for Shawanas North, obviously he wanted to join the football team because he was active in football from since he was about 5, right? And in joining the team, met Nicholas, and by extension, Krong Trace Football Club, because when I saw what Nicholas was doing with the football team in Shawanas North, you know, Timothy said, well, you know, Coach Nick has a club, and you know he wants to join the club.
And you had no issue with the stigma that was coming out from the community that, oh, look, the bunch of thieves, you know, that sort of.
No, because I lived in enterprise.
Okay.
And I know everybody in enterprise is not bad, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, but to satisfy my own curiosity, I had to go and check it out myself. You know, so I carried Timothy. As they say, I checked out the scene, you know, and I liked what I saw. I mean, the first thing that struck me was how disciplined Nicholas was, you know, with the children, and that is a big thing for me. So when I saw that, I said, well, okay, I can't leave Timothy in the hands of Nicholas with respect to development his football skills. You know, knowing that it's not only football alone, and he would have a level of discipline, you know, that's needed for the sport and also needed for the youth, because that's one of the things that is lacking with the youth in Trinidad and Tobago, not only in enterprise, not only in Krong Trace. You know, that is something that we're lacking across the country. You know, and we have to start small. So we have to start within our home, and then our community, and then by extension Trinidad and Tobago. So I had no issue with Timothy joining the club. And I realized that, as he said, was a one-man show. He did everything. He was chief cook, bottle washer, you know. And that and all struck me, you know, the passion he had for the children, passion he had for the sport, you know, his work ethic, and his discipline, you know, and I've always been involved in everything my son and my daughter have been doing, so I automatically wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted to help in any way I could, you know, and I realized that he needed help because the club was expanding. He expanded the age groups, you know, and I realized that he had a lot on his shoulders, and essentially was him alone. There were a couple of parents who used to assist also, but it was a handful, you know. So I just needed to be a part of it too, because I also wanted to give back to the community, you know, because that's something I always believe in, you know. And there's when I became involved with Krong Trace, and I've been there since.
How has the community embraced the team? What at one point in time, they used to describe you all as the grove of thieves. Now that years have gone by now, what are these same people saying? How do they describe the team presently?
Oh, well, crunches is the big thing around now. They don't describe us as thieves anymore. As a matter of fact, if a team know that crunches is a part of the competition, they know that is the team to look out for. Right? And within the community itself, they have a lot of respect for the players. You know, when the players coming into the community around within the area, probably on the corner or the block as they call it, the young men within the area, they respect the players. They know that they are coming to play football and they have nothing to tell them. They don't interfere with them at all. Everybody respect me within the community. Every single person call me coach, the young and the old. You know, so they have that certain level of respect for the players, the club, and they show appreciation even when we have home games within our community. All members come around the savannah and they cheer them on, a lot of support. And in terms of the stigma that is attached, I don't think it has lasted. They don't look at us as thieves anymore. Right? Even though the community may still have some issues which may be affecting the community, but within the club itself, that is not how we are described anymore at all.
What are some of the challenges that you face, you know, when you started the club? Because you were the only person, you know, accepting a challenge like this, right? I'm sure that, you know, financially, you know, otherwise, you know, what are some of the challenges now that when you sit down now and you look back, you know, it brings a smile to your face, seeing what you have gone through, and it has made you so much stronger now?
First, one of the challenges was discipline, in terms of the kids not being accustomed to certain rules and a certain set of behavior that I expect from them. So, you know, at one point in time, they would have been very ill-disciplined. They would have a lot of fights on the football field. I would have to enforce some rules, give some bans and stuff. They might have had times where they would have used a lot of obscene language, because that was a normal way of life. And that in itself, at this point in time, is not a problem at all. No ill discipline. They know exactly where I stand and what I stand for. You don't hear obscene language. What I appreciate is the fact that no referee or no other team could say that Crown Street Football Club has ever been disrespectful on a football field in any competition. They had never gone out and disrespected any referee or disrespected any team. I've never had fights with different teams and so forth. No, so good rivalry. Right, and it's because I always tell them that you all know the stigma that is attached to the community. So you need to have to give respect home, so that when you go out and you know exactly how you behave, you will go out with the same, care about yourself in the same manner. Right? Finances. That's one of the greatest challenges, because having to be the only person involved, well, the founder of the club, who again would take on the challenge of having to spend the money for registration and transportation and all these different things. And it was a big, heavy load, where sometimes, you know, you had sent out in times past, parents never really knew exactly what it is the train had to gain from it. So, you know, sometimes you might send consent from home and explain, well, this is the cost to participate in the tournament, and each person pay like probably $30 or probably for $20 or $30. And sometimes they'll come back with the consent form signed, but without even bringing the finances. And I still had to cover the cost, because I say to myself, well, if I don't, who will? Yeah. You know, who will do it? And but now I think the parents are more appreciative, and they actually see the benefit of it. So that if I send a consent form and tell them this is the transportation cost, this is registration cost, this is the food cost, they would actually pay the cost now. So it's not as much as a big challenge now, even though there are still a heavy financial costs attached, because football, running a football club is a lot of money, but it's the weight is a bit easier now. Yeah, so that would have been the two biggest challenges in terms of the discipline, in terms of the finances, which are two important aspects in running a football club.
Now, having this club with all the different age brackets, I mean, that is a tedious job, because you have under 10s, under
12s, 14s, 16s, 18s. Right.
So there's a number of days that you will have to have training. How large is your coaching staff, and you know, how much effort, you know, is put out?
My coaching staff is not large at all. It's still, what we have now is a management team
Yeah.
where we
How
would
large
have
is the management team?
5,
Yeah, 5.
about
Okay.
5 persons, right? But basically, if we train 5 days of the week, I would be there 5 days of the week.
And you train all age groups at one time, or you have separate?
No, we
days?
have separate days for the different age
Yeah.
groups. But what I do is like players who have moved on to the older age group, I would ask them to come out and help
Okay.
with the
Yeah.
So when we go to competition, I would call probably somebody under 20s or probably somebody under 17s. They go with us as well. I tell them to come out to the games and they would manage some of the teams because basically the players, they know the basics, so they know exactly what position they play when they go out. So even if I'm not at a specific field at one point in time, they know exactly what it is they have to do. And the older set of fellas, they would come out and they would help out and assist. Yeah, and that's how it goes.
So besides the award that you all got from FIFA and the winning the Disney Cup, which would you say is your greatest, the club's greatest achievement thus far?
I would say I enjoy winning the Disney tournament because it's an international tournament. But
That was played abroad, right?
That was played abroad in Florida, they say. But I would think that the greatest accomplishment would have been the award from FIFA because of the fact that it was awarded for exceptional social work within the community. And I always thought that we have never been recognized for the hard work that we do within the community. It's not that I do the hard work for some sort of recognition, but I feel good that FIFA was able to deem our story as one of the greatest stories in the world because they thought that helping at-risk youths and using football as a vehicle to create change, they thought that was one of the most fantastic stories in the world. That motivated me because it's a lot of work. It's not the easiest community to deal with. I love the community. I grew within that community, but there are times when I feel drained. I feel tired, you know. And at that point in time when we won the FIFA award, that would have been probably a year after one of my players was killed by police, 16 years, and he actually, I think he went on a robbery. And he was killed, and I was down at that point in time because I was thinking to myself that I'm doing this within the community to see some sort of change. And when he ended up in a robbery, I felt like, why are you helping out? I feel like I failed on my mission, you know, and I wanted to give up. That was one point in time that I really wanted to give up. And after someone wrote about us and what we have been doing within the community, that's the actual manager of Shogunas North Secondary School. I didn't know anything about the competition. And when they said that we were shortlisted, someone sent me the link. That is when I started to follow the story. And it gave me a sense of encouragement. It gave me a motivation. I felt like, you know, as God saying, Nicholas, this is not the time to give up. You need to go again. You know, and people always tell me that you can't save all. You would save some.
Yeah,
but that's the reality, and that is what hurts me because I wish if I could save all of them, you know. And I was feeling really down, and winning a FIFA award, a worldwide competition, and having them come from Korea and do this big video, which has reached like 3 million views. You know, that is exceptional. That is really exceptional.
Nigel, when you look back now at the progress of this organization, I'll call it an organization because, you know, it's, to me, it's larger than a football club, right? Seeing, you have lived in enterprise for 20 years, we're still seeing the negative things coming out. What would you like the people of enterprise to know about this organization and this organization? Because only about a couple of weeks or a month back, we were hearing all these sort of violence is happening in enterprise. But you're not hearing about Crown Trace football team. They won the under-10 tournament for how many years? They went to Disney, they got the FIFA awards. But you're hearing only about the crime. What would you like trying to be able to know, right, about this organization?
Well, first and foremost, the main drive for this organization is, as Nicholas said earlier on, for the at-risk youth. We want to actually give them something different, something positive. Because let's face it, right now, not only in Crown Trace, not only in Enterprise, we have a lot of negative things that are being sensationalized in the media,
Yeah.
you know, and this is what the youth gravitate into.
True.
You
So
know?
true.
So we need to give them something that is positive, something that is good for them, and also give them the discipline that goes with it. Because to me, that is one of the major issues we have right now with the youth. Because when you look at it, the root of almost any kind of negativity you're seeing in the youth right now is lack of discipline. That comes down to the root. And we may say it starts from the home, but I remember not too long ago, as a community, you used to take care of the children in the community. Your neighbor used to take care of you. You know, you couldn't do anything wrong and your parents not know about it, and you might get punished even before your parents know about it.
Yeah.
I grew up around that time.
And when you come home and you tell your parents, you're getting punished again.
Again, you know, you can't hide. So, you know, this thing about neighbor looking out for neighbor, we have lost that. And right now, we need to bring that sense of community back. You know, I mean, we're not looking for everybody to sit down and sing Kumbaya, but at the end of the day, what we want is people to be socially responsible too, and not encourage and see, you know, the youth go in a certain direction and not try to pull them back, because everybody now just looks the other way.
Yeah.
Right? So we're trying to get away from that, and we're trying to bring back a kind of community spirit. So when people see what we can do in this organization with the same at-risk youth that everybody kind of, you know, they keep at arm's length, you know, when they see what we're doing, hopefully that would encourage other people. It would encourage even the parents of somebody youth, because they would be surprised. There are some parents of footballers who don't even know what is going on with the club. They don't even know what might be going on with their child. Nicholas might know more about their children than them, simply because they talk to Nick. There are some of them can't even talk to their parents, you know, and it's a sad thing. So, unfortunately, sometimes Nick has to be father, he has to be a confidant, he has to be a role model, he has to be a mentor, you know, all of these things. But what we're trying to do is to get people involved again, get parents involved. Because if all the parents of all the players, and even just the parents of the community, in the community, their children may not actually be in the club, but they just come out, support, help.
Yeah.
And by extension, just spread the same message that we trying to give their children to everybody they interact with. You know, it will spread. And it just takes for us as people to do the right thing. And that's what we're lacking right now.
Let's touch a bit about the Disney Cup. For those of us who, you know, not fully aware, who and some of the teams that you all had to come up with, and in what division it was?
Well, the Disney Cup was the under-19 division, and I actually had just one under-19 player who I tried to accommodate. I could have sent him on the next team as a guest player, but knowing his skill and his ability, I said, well, I'll take the risk of going, the challenge, not the risk, the challenge of playing in the under-19 division with basically a whole under-17 team, just one under-19 team, in order to accommodate this one player who I know could add a lot to the team. It was an international competition that played in Florida in ESPN Worldwide of Sports. And we played some teams like Brazil, Mexico, Guatemala, a couple teams from America. Those are the teams that participated. It was worldwide. Puerto Rico, we played against a Puerto Rican team. And the competition was a really stiff competition. It was under 19, as I said. So most of the teams that we played against had all players who were 19 years, right? And we had, well, a young team. I think that my team, they gave it their best shot. Every game we had to play like it was a final. after the first game, we had to adapt to their style of football. They play everything with the teams that we played against. Most of them, rather than us, they play fast. Everything they do fast. So while we would delay on a throw and a free kick on a corner, while we delay and look to see where we play the ball, they do everything fast. They're well organized. And having seen after the first game where we made our mistakes against the opponents, we just had to play the same way that they play. And that is where we were able to do well. Competition was about 4 days of competition, you're entitled to. But if you continue winning, you move on. It would have been about six days. So we played probably from a Monday straight onto the Sunday, which would have been the finals. So it was like basically a boot camp. So players would have been injured and so forth. Most team had about 19 players or 20. My team just had 13 players. So I just had to, the players who were on the field, they had to give it their very best, hoping and praying that we don't have any injury and so forth. You know, and we did well. We won the under-19 division of the competition, which I think was an exceptional.
And that was the first time you all entered?
Yeah, that was the first time we actually participated in the Disney Cup.
And it's the trophy that you all...
That's the trophy that we won. Last year, though, we participated in the rugby soccer tournament in Canada. We made it to the quarterfinals. We lost one game, which was the quarterfinal game. And the Disney Cup, which is what we participated, we placed first in. I believe that it has boosted the players' morale and motivation. They feel encouraged. As I told them, at that point in time, the community, there was a war taking place within the community. I don't know what they would want to call it. If it was Muslim city, Rasta city, whatever they would want to call it. But two streets within one community had been warring. And at that point in time, I couldn't have training. Nobody was coming out to training. Everybody was afraid because all you would have been hearing is gunshots. I had players from one section of the street and they needed to come into our section, which is Crown Trace, and they couldn't come. And I was very concerned because we have an international competition and we can't train for it. You know, so I was worried. I was wondering, well, what will be the outcome when we go to this competition? And well, God had it that at that point in time we needed to win that competition. I was really frustrated at that point in time as well because I was wondering what is going to take place with my club. Players started to leave. Parents were calling every day. They can't send their child to training. And it was a very hard time for me. And this too, just as the FIFA Power Football competition I won, this also motivated me and gave me an encouragement. It gave me strength to go again. You know, it gave me strength. So I guess that is God's way of saying, you need to go again. You can't give up.
What I wanted to find out, funding, to take these teams abroad, especially the one to Canada and the one to the States, it's a huge undertaking. How do you manage to cooperate, Trinidad to make a common hand and assist you all, or you all have to go, how do you say, the cap in hand and beg for money?
we don't have a sponsor, right? As a community group, it's not a pro league team, so persons will not be that encouraged to give any big set of financial support to us. I could speak for Canada last year. Curricues, barbecues, fundraisers, curricues, barbecues, raffles, curricues.
Well, at least the curricue and the barbecue had to be tasting good.
Of course.
I mean, to sell and make enough to, you know.
It really tastes well.
But have you all approached like Corporate Trinidad and Tobago?
We have approached Corporate Trinidad and Tobago. We receive some support, but not support like to cover a whole trip or cover. You know, but most times we actually have to go there. The parents actually the parents would go to their companies and we would go, but we wouldn't get no big lump sum of support to say that, all right, this whole aspect of the trip has been funded. And it's just like how the club has been run over the years. If we do get the support anyway, we have to see how we can do it. You know, so this is how it happens. And we just want to make a dream come true for a child because most times, we're like, for instance, we went to Canada. The first time I have been to Canada. I don't know the first time Mr. Richardson have been to Canada. And going to Florida. But the first time I have been to Florida. So every time, it's the first time for me and it's the first time for them. You know, so making a dream come true for the kids and And it's always an experience of a lifetime for them.
Okay.
And I know for sure that this one especially, even the other one in Canada was also an experience of a lifetime. But I believe they would remember this one the most, that they have become champions. And we have also got some opportunities which I've always longed for, where players receive scholarship. One of my players is on a scholarship in Texas.
Okay.
It's his second year, and we also have access to more scholarship opportunities where we got online scholarships. And about 9 of my players should be starting the online degrees. For the first year, they do it online. Once they pass, they'll be eligible to study in the U.S. college that has offered it, and probably by next year, a couple of them would be going out. So great things have been
That's
coming
as a
out.
result of winning the Disney Cup.
Okay. Well, Nigel, when you look back now at, because I'm sure that most of the guys, you have seen them or known them from the inception, and they have grown up now. When you look back at them, in what areas of their life you have seen positive growth, and it all comes back to being a part of this organization?
Well, I've seen temperaments change for the better. A lot of them, I've seen them when they used to be quick to anger. Now they actually have a sort of calmer disposition. You know, their demeanor is one of young men now, rather than just young boys, you know, who just were angry and didn't think before they acted. Now they realize that there are consequences to action, and also, as for instance, the team that went to Orlando for the Disney Cup, I put on them that they have a very, very huge responsibility, because now they have the younger age groups that will be looking up to them.
Definitely.
So I actually give them that responsibility now, that their actions will be looked upon closely by the younger players and also by the community, because you want to see the young people in the community excel. And from what we're trying to do, from a football perspective, you know, we using football as a medium to get discipline and to get the youth in a positive direction. And as we tell them, you just only don't come here for football. We come here to give you life lessons also. So we teach you about being young men, you know, responsibility. You know, so when you leave here, whether it be whatever you want to do afterwards, you will have some football skill, you'll have some memories about playing football, but you'll also take things when you're going to be a man from what you learn from Nicholas and from us here in the club. You know, and that's what we want to do. So we have seen a change where a lot of them, you see the difference in their attitude towards people, towards each other, and towards other people in the community too. You know, and that's what we want. We want to see that change, you know, and it has to be a positive change and also a noticeable change too. You know, and we have seen that. I have seen that over the past years. I've been active in the club. I've seen a lot of the young men change for the better.
Okay. Now, the award from FIFA, it had some benefits in it. What were the benefits from that? Was it just how they give you all an award and nothing else? What?
Yeah, we was just being deemed the FIFA Power Football Champion worldwide for exceptional social work within the community. They did the video on YouTube, which was broadcast through the World Cup in Brazil.
That was with Carlos Edwards and
Kenyon Jones and they.
Yeah.
And I won a car, right? And that was just about it. But I think that the motivation that came with it, that was the greatest victory that we could have won, you know, rather than something materialistic.
No, why I asked, because in the video I think I saw uniforms and...
Oh, yeah.
Well, what they also did, they came and they actually constructed 2 locker rooms.
How can I forget that?
Right, at the ground, where for the video, they actually used that to hide the football kits that they had
inside.
Sponsored.
That's FIFA?
FIFA and Kia, in conjunction with Kia. And it was full kits, boots, socks, pants, jerseys, full kits.
And each person got their own locker.
Yeah, and they used that in the video also and the presentation. So it was beneficial for us, and the timing was good too, because we actually used those kids to travel to Canada.
Yeah.
Right? And
Okay.
you know,
So
that
one
was
expense you only had to.
Of course.
Yeah. We also actually got a kit from KFC at that point in time also,
So
that
we had no kit to
assisted.
buy.
So, you know, it corporate, we can't say that we didn't get any kind of sponsorship at all, but it's not the kind of sponsorship that we would like to see, you know, given to us because of what we're doing in the community.
Well, it just makes realize that the community needs to work a little harder, you know,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I mean, it's that you all have a good product, and a good product always sells.
Exactly.
Right, so now you all just need to go out there and market it, because I mean, with these awards that you all have gotten now, will look very impressive on your resume.
Yes.
You know, and I mean, they have seen now that it's an organization that has grown from being labeled as thieves to now being labeled as some of the best footballers in the country.
Yeah.
You know, so
The two locker rooms that they built for us.
it's still there, right?
Still
Yeah,
there.
okay.
One we have football equipment, and the other is for trophies.
Yeah.
So the other is filled with trophies. You know, so we actually have something. We have things that we can show. You know, competitions that we have been winning, and I mean, everybody in the football fraternity in Trinidad and Tobago, especially in Central, they know, once they hear Crown Trace, they know what they're coming to meet. So we are a force to be reckoned with, so they
I think
know.
you're in the beach football too, right?
Yeah, we won that competition.
Yeah,
as well.
yes, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was there for
Yeah.
that game.
We won
Yeah.
that. That's the first time we participated in that type of competition.
Now, what goals have you all set for this organization? I mean, how long is 2006 you all started?
Yeah, as just a team, but officially in 2008.
2008. What goals have you all set for Crown Trace? Where, at the end of the day, where would you like to see Crown Trace reach?
It has always been my intention to become a professional club. And I hope, I know that in time to come, in the right time, that Crown Trace Football Club would be a professional club, participating in Pro League football, and where I would actually have my own young players playing in the junior competition, and we have our senior team rather than having to adopt teams to play for us within the junior division. We would already have our group from our young division, and we would participate in the senior division. That's my overall, my long-term dream, to become a professional club.
What are some of the plans that you all have for the balance of the year for the club? Like competitions will be entered, things like that.
Well, for now, secondary school football is going on, in which I coach in secondary school, Chaguanas North. So the seniors will not be able to play in any competition who participates in secondary school. The majority of the senior team, the U17s, are part of my school team, right? But for the younger team, we have what competition? We have basic one-day competition that will be coming up, nothing big. But what we have planned is Crown Trace Got Talent competition, where we were able to see a lot of talent when we went to Tobago for the Easter. And we had our little concert where we saw the kids, their potential to do a drama, skits, and sing as well. So we are hoping, I would like to have, I actually postponed it for a later date, and that would be probably in October, the second week in October. Crown Trace Got Talent. So that's the biggest thing that would be happening for us by the end of the year, apart from minor one-day competitions that would be taking place before the season closes.
Now, a quick question. Crown Trace football, and we're talking about football. Will you all be entering into like other sporting activities outside of football? Or you're just going to concentrate on football? Because you're all doing a good job in football, and I'm sure that there are other sporting disciplines in the club that maybe young kids are just dying for you all to hear Nicholas calling to start a basketball team or a cricket team or something like that.
Initially, the club was actually named Crown Trace Sport and Cultural Club, right? And we were registered under community development as that, and then I changed to just Crown Trace Football Club. Is because of the limited support. I would love to enter, apart from football, athletics, because I love athletics, track and field, right? And there are a lot of players within my club who are actually good in athletics. I would love to do it. They're very fast. I would love to do that, but it comes back to the support.
Yeah.
If I actually have the financial support to do it, there are a lot of coaches I know who would love to be a part of having them participate in the track meets. And through track meets, they also see a lot of scholarship opportunities being created as well, even more than football. You know, so I would love to participate in, apart from football, in tracks, but it all comes down to the amount of support financially that we get. Because I love track as well.
Not getting into the politics of things, but have you all ever, approached any government, for assistance, the Ministry of Sport, sport company, things,
Yes, we have. Unfortunately, things didn't work out, in that regard. It's kind of difficult for us also because, we try to stay neutral.
Yeah.
Of late, we have had support. Could be because it was election season and that kind of thing,
But generally,
we have not got any kind of support that I think any organization in a community that trying to do what we're doing supposed to get.
Well, that's my point I'm getting to because and then it's not that you don't have anything to show for it, you all have a lot.
Exactly.
And especially coming out from an area where it's always on the news for the wrong things. Right? So, if you're really serious about curbing crime and curbing violence and getting communities back to what you want it to be, you should grasp at something like this, because the outside world knows and assisting more.
Exactly.
You all than local.
And that's it, recently we have seen some interest by, the councillors in the area.
Yeah.
And, that is welcome and that is something that because we'll work with anybody willing to help and have the same vision as us. We definitely stay neutral. We are not a political organization. So, we asking for support, but at the same time, we're not going to compromise what we want to do and why we're doing it. So that it's kind of precarious for us.
And don't be used as a political tool.
Exactly. So we're very apprehensive about aligning ourselves with people, but at the same time, we welcome the support of anybody who genuinely wants to help us in what we want to accomplish in enterprise.
And if there are persons outside there that wants to assist or help in any area, how do they contact you all?
Well, we have our email address as crongtracefc@hotmail.com, CROWNTRACFC@hotmail.com, and they could also contact us via telephone at 682-6901. And we are registered with Ministry of Sport, Ministry of Community Development, and we also have our personal bank accounts with Royal Bank. We could also leave a contact bank account number as well. And also even if they want to give support in terms of uniforms or equipment, any form that would help the youths within the community, that is also would be welcome and appreciated.
Joining us here, Jahil Jeffrey. Now, when Jahil has a story to tell, because at present Jahil is a policeman, but he is one of the footballers that started from inception in Crown Trace. And it's really an interesting story to see, or to hear actually, where he started and where he is today. So Jahil, welcome. Tell me a bit about yourself. When you first started, how you got involved with Crown Trace?
Oh, well, firstly, basically, being a member of Crown Trace. I'm a member of Crown Trace, and I used to play outside because I started playing football at an early age. And around 2007, 2008, my class Clifford, we was always cool friends, church members, whatsoever. He came up with the idea to join clubs just to basically start some small football-wise. Came across, played under him as a coach, developed whatsoever. It was always key factor was discipline. Always discipline and on and off the field. And I remember once where I was at the CSEC level, late at night, help with the SBA, whatsoever. correlate us, beat us, what you had to do for us to excel off the field academically as well. And then one of the things I always tell them is a great role model because I already think I admire about him. That not only the football, he doesn't make the football the only and first priority, also have the kids and the footballers off the field academically as well. And that's basically it. As club has grown beyond that what our expectations thus far, and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Now, when you, now I'm looking at you here now, you know, remember a police, you know, well-spoken, manly, everything. But when you joined the team, were you this polite little individual, or do you had issues that you had to deal with?
No. Issues.
He's being honest.
Yeah, issues.
And tell me a bit about some of the games, you know, where you representing the club, you know, or something. When you look back now, you're still with the club,
Yes, sir.
right? But tell me about some of the games, the competition you took part in, or some of the memories.
As we were just talking about in the break, Republic Cup. Remember at a young age, Republic Cup, running away to play football. Running away to play football, I believe we ended up winning the zone that year. And sadly, I had to left because I ran away. Mom find out whatsoever. Great memories like that. I ran away to play the sport, to do something positive, so never regret it. And it had many other occasions also came. Last year, school football came and played under him again, and Chigonas North. Great memories.
And you were in Naps before?
Yeah, spent 2 years in Naps. Came across last year, A-levels, played with Chigonas North. You know, the pre-season training, everything, how you brought us together, the bonding time, motivational speech, and all of that does add up to the great times spent with him.
No, and now that you have reached this point in your life now, you're giving back to the organization, right? In what sense? Do you go train, you know, coach, things like that?
Yeah, help out, as you say. I used to help out before. As I started progressing age group, we always ask that, you know, come back and help with the younger groups, because we all know his style, what he's for. So it wouldn't be nothing different, it wouldn't be nothing hard. And yeah, since then, I've been in and out, and as they say, currently I'm officer, so less time, but where there's time, I still pop up, still give back where I could.
Being a young member of the organization, coming from the inception, you know, going through the ranks, you know, coming through now, you know, getting a profession. When you look at Nicholas Griffith, if I'm to ask you, you know, how would you like to describe this guy?
Unique, 1 in a million. 1 in a million. He's very patient because he faced a lot of challenges and he fought through them, he see himself through them. Where we saw doubt, he saw light. And we always talk about that. Even other players, we always trouble him about that. He stern, he stick, he believe in something, he stick to it. He don't go contrary to nothing. He focus, he have a vision, and he always work towards it. And he always show that unconditional love towards each and every one of us. So we all feel as one. And yeah, great person, great individual. Excellent role model.
Nicholas, if you have to do all this over again, will you change? Will you do anything different? How will you proceed?
No, I wouldn't do anything different. I would do it all over again. I told them that before. As if I have to do it all over again, I would do it. Despite the fact that there are a lot of challenges. What I would try to do better is get more support that I didn't have from the beginning, because with lack of support, it brings stress, you know. So, but even in the stressful situation, I've learned how to cope with different situations. I've learned how to be a coach. I've learned how to be a manager. I've learned how to be a secretary, how to be a treasurer in the midst of the stressful situation. But I would do it all over again for them, because I've seen good fruits out of the hard work, the hard labor. Jail, as he mentioned, he's a police officer now. He has his full CXC certificate. He has A-levels as well. We have the scholarship, and I would like to get a lot more. One of my players who we didn't mention before, Tanisha Palmer, she started off with us on our very first girls team.
Oh, she's on the national...
And she's on the national women's team now. And it's just a dream And as I tell them all the time, and they like to hear me say it because we always have motivational talks, and I tell them all the time, I say, dreams are made to come true. And this is what I believe. I will do it all over again if I have to.
Now, you mentioned something there, Tanisha Palmer. You have girls in the academy too. You have girls teams too, right?
Yeah, well, we had the Tanisha Palmer were on our very first girls team, which we formed in probably 2012, right? And when she left, she started off with St. Anne's Rangers because we weren't playing in any senior division women. So I tell Spence, not a problem, and I sent her. And we didn't really have a goalkeeper, so the team had broken up for about 2 or 3 years. And this year was the first year that we actually started back with our girls team. And of course, girls team always have the most amount of challenges, but we do have a very young girls team, mainly under 15 girls. You know, I would cope with them. We would cope with them and work and see how far I could go, but there are a lot of work to be done. And I believe we can get more national players out of them, especially being that very young, under 15. Once we work with them, I believe we can have a good result in the end.
What's your ultimate goal for this organization?
My ultimate goal, and as I said before, to become a professional team. And me personally, I just want to reach people. Even if you don't intend to be on a professional team, when you leave this organization, you should leave it something, a life-changing experience, something that was said to you that would remain with you for the rest of your life, where you would be able to go on and even cry to your organization, to your family life. You would be able to be a leader, as they say sometimes. Leaders don't create followers, they create other leaders. I would love to create other leaders. You know, just reach people, see their lives change, see they become something positive within the community, be good contributors to society, and scholarship opportunities at the end of the day.
What's your greatest joy thus far? Something that when you sit in your quiet moment, you know, it brings a smile to your face.
How the club have grown, because I never believe, we didn't have uniform in the beginning. It was just like a carnival costume, some with red, some with blue, some with green. Some didn't even have football boots, some with sneakers, some playing bare feet. We didn't have shin guards, and I myself wasn't certified as a coach. Let me say, I didn't play football because we didn't have that opportunity like they had before. And me looking back now and seeing how the club has grown, and I don't broadcast the fact that I'm the founder, but I sit sometimes and I say, but I never believe I would have been the founder of a football club that has now gone on to one international competition and has actually had a player now who have on the national team and one who have actually gained scholarship opportunity. This was never part of my plan. It was never part of the dream. The dream was just to help, you know, and just looking back and seeing how things has grown and developed, that puts a big smile on my face and it gives me encouragement, you know, and that is the reason why I say I would definitely do it again. But the success so far, that put the biggest smile on my face. It's really heartwarming, very heartwarming.
Well, Nicholas, it was indeed a pleasure. And let me wish you and the Crown Trace Football Organization all the best, and I hope that you all go from strength to strength.
Of course, with God first.
Yes, definitely. Well, viewers, we have come to the end of another edition of Community Corner. We were talking to members of the Crown Trace Football Club. I would rather call them an organization because it's really a large group of people together. And we want to wish them all the best. And as I said at the opening of the program, is that we heard so much of negative things coming out from Enterprise. But tonight you heard something that is positive, and we hope that, you know, other media and other reporters can really, you know, don't let the outside countries be the first. Let us be the first to highlight, you know, the good things that is happening in Enterprise. So again, we want to thank them. We want to wish them all the best, and I can assure you that from time to time we'll be keeping our ears open to some of the positive news that's coming out of Enterprise, and we will have it here on Scoreboard. So again, thank you for joining us. Remember, there is a repeat of this program on Wednesday at 12 noon. So if you miss Tuesday night, you can catch us on Wednesday midday, and we look forward to having you next week with us. Remember, our mega clash on Tuesday Night Football is Naparima College versus Presidential College at the Marion Stadium. So see you next week.
Trinidad and Tobago, a beautiful little island in the Caribbean. I am Kenwin Jones, a striker for the Trinidad and Tobago national team. There's a story I want to share with you. It's a story of Crown Trace, the darker side of Trinidad and Tobago. With high crime rates, the environment here was far from wholesome.
Over 7 years ago, the community were helpless, kids were neglected, smoking and gambling were part of their everyday life.
But a young man named Nicholas Griffith would walk past these kids all the time. He wanted to keep the kids off the streets, and the only way he could reach them was through football.
I wasn't much of a football fan then, but I had to do something to get back the sparkle in their eyes.
On January 17, 2007, he gathered 18 youths and formed the Crown Trace Football Club. In the beginning, they had nothing. No money, no equipment, not even uniforms. It was an uphill battle.
We weren't always that good, and people often call us a bunch of criminals.
One of the girls only had a mother and a little sister to rely on. One boy suffered the abuse from his father, and one kid lived with his mother who was disabled. But giving up was not an option. Because Nicholas lit the fire of passion in their hearts.
Football is my way out.
I just love football.
It's my life. What is my dream?
Once they began to dream, miracles happened. David Maloney was selected for the national under-17 team. Tanisha Palmer became a goalkeeper for the women's national team. The club represented Central FC at the Youth Pro League under 13. With their success, the community began to heal. And their surprising story inspired the world and won FIFA's The Power of Football contest, which was sponsored by Kia Motors.
A surprise always leads to a greater surprise.
When we are inspired by them. Surprises make surprises.